Mortal Kombat X was one of the most hyped games of the year, and honestly, I understand why, but was the game that good? Let's find out and grill this game. Mortal Kombat X was released on April 7th and is considered one of the best fighting games out right now. It got many positive reviews with most ratings being above an 8. The game starts off with you picking a clan. The clans are Lin Kuei, Brotherhood of Shadow, Black Dragon, White Lotus, and last but not least, Special Forces. These clans are at war with each other, and it's up to each members of the clans to compete against one another to boost their clan's points up, which you can do by winning matches and even using exclusive faction war fatalities. The ones who have the most point in the end win the war. This is not my favorite idea, but the game has its fans who enjoy this, and of course I'm not gonna hate on them for it. It's not a bad idea. It's perfectly fine, so I accept it. After you pick your clan, I highly recommend new players to practice in practice mode. The game has an interesting concept of having each character have 3 variations that each play differently and have their own specific combos and special moves while still retaining the character's basic movements and hits. I love this idea as it adds a bit more variety to each character, but there is a small problem. I'm looking at you, Aaron Black. Now notice that Aaron is a cowboy, so of course his main variation is Gunslinger. It's a 6 shooter, but most importantly it has the cowboy hat. Notice that his other variations however lack this, and come on, who wouldn't want to use Aaron Black with a sword? Well, that's the problem with the variation system. Each variation causes physical appearance changes to the characters, which in some cases is unfortunate. But it's fine, NetherRealm can probably fix this update, or it's something that you can easily ignore. Now to gameplay. Unlike most fighting games, this game uses a very simple punches and kicks system instead of having a light, medium, and heavy input system. This game also uses a block button and a stance change button. I'm not a fan of holding a block button down, but that's again my preference. Once you've gotten good enough experience in practice mode, try out single fight and practice against some computers. Heck, during this time you can execute your combos and finally perform your fatalities. You know, fatalities, the main focus of the game, something that everyone knows about with Mortal Kombat, whether it be a positive or negative thing. The reason why the ESRB system was created is something that I can't wait to see on new gen graphics. I mean, fatalities were something great and I just can't wait to— oh god! Sorry, I lost my lunch. Well, unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of these fatalities. I know Mortal Kombat is famous for its fatalities, but this is too much. I know MK9 had some pretty gruesome fatalities, but at least they still looked pretty fake. They still had this comedic feeling to it. I mean, come on, look at this one.
Fatality.
That's kind of funny. This is disturbing. I don't like performing fatalities in this game. It doesn't feel too good. I'll stick with brutalities because those are a little bit more hype. Well, let's move on to the story mode. The game starts off a couple years after the events of MK9. We're in the middle of a battle as Johnny, Sonya, and Kenshi are flying towards a certain location until Scorpion appears along with Sub-Zero. And this is where something kind of neat comes in. It's a random button event which is kind of neat, reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 4. Anyway, you then enter your first fight against Scorpion, the fan favorite. After this, you follow up with Sub-Zero. Wait, hold on. Isn't that— oh well, you know, that could make sense. Noob Saibot did get stuck in a portal and the other Sub-Zero did die while he was a cyborg, so it's okay. Let's just move on. As the game continues, you are introduced to the main villain. Smoke! What are you doing here? Why aren't you playable? What?
Smoke is dead. I am an Ninra.
Oh, so you're not Smoke. Okay, I guess that's fine. Anyway, we are introduced to the main villain, Shinnok. He wants to destroy the world and blah blah blah, stereotypical villain. Johnny Cage somehow beats him, and now we are introduced to the new Earthbound Defenders, who are the kids of the previous Defenders. Which is something I love. As we move on, we find out that Outworld is in a civil war between Kotal Khan and Mileena. in which we see, "Hey waifu, hey Rain, how y'all doing?" Anyway, we see that Mileena has Shinnok's medallion that has him sealed in it. The story then continues with Sub-Zero. Wait a second, there's a third Sub-Zero? No, that can't be. But then how did Cyborg return as a human if he died as a cyborg? Maybe they'll explain it later. We continue the story as the new defenders go to Outworld, and we have some flashbacks. These flashback moments are okay, because they explain some things like why Takeda fights like Scorpion and other stuff like that. Anyway, as the story continues, things get a little bad. We see a lesbian necrophilia scene with Mileena and Devora. Sorry Mir D, your waifu just died. And Shinnok is released! Yay! Long story short, we build up to a final fight against Dark Khan. I mean Shinnok. With Cassie, who like her father uses some magic ancestral power and defeats Shinnok. And that's the end of the story mode. Anyway, let's move on to one of the most important features that all fighting games need now. The online mode. Unfortunately, MKX has terrible netcoding. So matches that are extremely hard to play with and you can't perform all of your combos that you normally can do in offline modes. If this game had better netcode, it would definitely be better. Overall, this game is great. The music is fine, and graphic wise this game is amazing looking. The characters move great and look great, however sometimes I do feel that not all the characters have good muscle tone in them, but still they look pretty good. Gameplay, however, is a bit slow, but that's something I won't penalize the game for, because that's more of a preference thing. But the story does have a lackluster ending, and yes, it does seem like they are setting up for a sequel, but that's not a good enough excuse for an ending. So with that said, gameplay is fine, but fatalities are a bit too much. However, brutalities are pretty high. Just look at this guy.
Oh my god! Ah, we're done!
Online also needs to be fixed. Even now, it still needs work. Also, the microtransactions are very plentiful, but you don't absolutely need to buy them. They usually only add aesthetics to the characters. So this game is not pay to win at all. The DLC characters are also worth purchasing, but unfortunately, it is a bit expensive. I recommend paying for the Game of the Year edition that probably will come out, but I do recommend buying them as they are all worth using. My final rating for this game, it's a good piece of steak. It's great to bite into, it's juicy to the bite, but doesn't quite melt in your mouth like the perfect piece of carne. With a bit more love, that meat can become something great. You're probably mad at me for making you hungry now. Don't worry, I can fix that. Yo Armac, do that thing! Thank you. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you want to watch more, please click another video. If you want more content, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Bye guys!